When did you temporarily step in? Interesting. Azir's return to pick ban 97% in pro play after his changes. Was the mini rework a failure? Well, no. I mean, here I'm sure that there's going to be a freak comment explaining it in here. Hold on. It was doomed to end up like this the moment they allowed Azir to keep his dash. The Shurima shuffle is undoubtedly super cool, so I am myself a bit conflicted. I do recognize how absolutely insane Azir's kit is, though. Strong laner, strong scaling, decent burst, great sustained damage, great engager, great disengager. Very safe. Yeah, I mean, nuts how many boxes this champion fills. He also does so many things for your team comp as a single champion. He gives you engage, late game insurance, strong mid presence. Of course, he has downsides. These downsides are very inconsequential compared to most other champions. At this point, Azir will forever be #1 pro mid laner with his numbers aren't trash. So the sad thing about this just isn't true, in the sense that Azir blind. So like, if you're playing against Azir blind, and it comes in early, like you're gonna need obviously a surrounding team composition, but like the idea that there aren't mid laners that just theme answer him and also simultaneously like win the lane.
Zig, Zareth, both do that.
Yeah, Zig, Zareth, Corki. I think Ezreal does it too. I just have to see the matchup more. But I'm pretty sure that Static Shiv Ezreal just beats him. Yone is like another champion that like it depends on team composition. So this idea that he's the #1 mid laner is just false. And the issue with this is that pro players generally... Now, we just started getting Zareths coming up, but also you see how simplistic the Zareths are in LCK, and that, like, they perceive that, like, they just can't play him if Nocturne's open, or they can't play him if Jarvan's open, or something like this, even though Azir is present. And it's just not the way that the game actually works, right? Because it's not like these champions can just always go on you. And even if they can, the team compositions matter more than just the one-to-one vacuum. It's not as though Nocturne invalidates Zareth, but it actually is that Zareth invalidates Azir. And I say that mostly because of like build, current state of the champions, and then the dynamic in that Zareth is interacting with Azir for the mass majority of the game, and Nocturne is interacting with Zareth only at one specific moment in a team fight, which you can account for. So there's stuff like this going on, and what it reminds me of is it reminds me of early day RTSs where builds that were once thought of to just be the best, right? Like I could change the language of everything that was just written right here, and I could change it to 11-13 gate PVT in StarCraft 1, right? Where I could say like, well, it's just doomed. I mean, it's obvious that Protoss was just going to be really strong because 11-13 gate, you're immune to cheese. So you can't get cheesed by anything that Terran does, exerts a ton of pressure, sometimes just outright wins the game, sets you up for, great economy, lets you transition into a bunch of different things. Like, I can just keep listing, like, why 11-13 gate is so strong. And the reality is that when the Terran players get good enough at, like, microing their SCVs on the repair and getting the siege tank out and expanding, 10-13 gate loses. But the problem is that the micro and the build orders weren't as crisp by the Terran players in the early years, so everyone would just say 11-13 gate is broken, there's no counterplay. But then if you were to take the best 11-13 gater from 2014, fast forward them to... Or not 2014, sorry, like 2002, fast forward them to 2008, 2009, they're going to lose every single game. Unless the map is favorable for it, right? The map would have to be favorable for it, and then they would be able to transition out of it. When I read stuff like this, I just get very upset because it simplifies League of Legends in a way that, one, is not actually accurate, and then two, limits the perception of viable champions inside of the game, and it's very frustrating. Welcome back, APA.
Yep.
Amazing.